Greetings and salutations, and this is Tech Plays here, back with more Sonic and Shadow Generations, and we are on to Rooftop Run. And I've gone back and forth on this level throughout the years. Like, I used to love it when I was younger, and then, like, my first run coming back to Generations, when I got Sonic and Shadow Generations, kinda hated the classic stage of it, but after, like, a little practice, it went back to being a level I love. So, yeah, just a little opinion there. This is the only level that's happened to. I think it happened to City Escape too, because the classic level in City Escape I also struggled with. It's also happened with Planet Wisp, but it didn't really go back and forth for Planet Wisp. I used to like it more when I was younger, but now I kind of don't like Planet Wisp in Sonic Generations. It's weird. I guess as I got older, my taste just gotten better. Because now I realize, like, now I see why people don't like the level. Because, like, it's... What bugs me about it is that they, like, every other level in Sonic Generations, and even all the levels in Shadow Generations, show off, like, the skills of this team's, like, level design capabilities. And then you have Planet Wisp, which feels like... I'm not gonna lie, it feels like it's padded out. And it also feels like it's incorporating a lot of stuff that the original version of Planet Wisp didn't need or have or anything like that. And it's not like incorporating too much from the original Planet Wisp that was good. And that's the thing that feels off to me. It's like Planet Wisp in this game, and the reason I'm talking so much about it is because we're getting to it soon. I believe we're literally playing it in this video because we're already on to Rooftop Run. We're already on to Rooftop Run Act 2, actually. So yeah, we're playing Planet Wisp next in the same video. So it is on topic. Technically, I know I go on rambles a lot about like other games or stuff in the same game I'm playing, but at a different part that's already passed or is in the future or whatever. But in this case, it's actually on topic because we're literally about to go to it. And there isn't really much to say about Rooftop Run because it is probably the most... I don't know what word to put for it. It's like a solid 8 out of 10. It's the most like I don't... What's a word that's less than like amazing, but better than good? That's like what I want to say about it. Like, it's better than good, but it's less than amazing. Like, there are better levels in Generations, and there's way better levels in Shadow Generations. Like, I'm sorry, something I noticed after playing Shadow Gens is that the level design in Sonic Gens is not as interesting. It is really good, don't get me wrong. It's some of the series' best level design, especially for the boost formula. Like, honestly, this Unleashed and Shadow Generations all show exactly how the boost formula can work in different ways, actually, because Shadow Generations leads into like the Forces / Frontiers type boost formula controls, but you know, a little more tight, a little more control of it. You know, it controls way better than the cyberspace stages of Frontiers or the stages of Forces, but it's the same general, like, control type. The boost feels the same as those two games. All that kind of stuff. And then Generations is like, you take the exact way Unleashed daytime stages played on the HD version, and then you run with it. And what I mean by run with it, I mean you somehow improve in some areas, while other areas feel exactly as good as Unleashed. But then again, this is me speaking as someone who didn't play much of the HD version of Unleashed, because I always prefer the SD version. And I know that might be a hot take, but I've made that take a few times on this channel already, I believe. The SD version of Unleashed just has a few things I like better. I like that Eggman Land is split up into acts and isn't like this one 50-minute long act like it is on the console version. I like the final boss better in the SD version, especially like in Unleashed. Unleashed is really fun when it comes to the boss fights. Like, I actually really love the boss fights in Unleashed. And Unleashed is what people call the Wii version, which is the better version of the SD version. Because even though the PS2 is like one of the most goated consoles of all time, Unleashed SD did run way better on the Wii. Better load times, better everything.
Thanks.
Oh, hi, Victor.
You know, I got a hunch.
Sorry, Victor, I'm in the middle of rambling here, so I gotta unfortunately talk over you, even though you're one of my favorite characters. So sorry about that. Oh, It Takes Two is installed. That is, might be a spoiler for future Let's Play, might not. I gotta get somebody to play that with. I'm thinking of asking either my sister Cherry or my friend Lou, if my friend Lou has enough time for it. I'd rather play with Lou, because, I feel like that's a game you'd rather play with a friend than a sibling. You know? I feel like it's more fun with a friend. But we'll see about that. We'll see who I end up playing it with. Whoever I end up playing it with, it's gonna be Let's Play. Somehow. I don't know if I'm gonna record our commentary, like me. I don't know if I'm gonna record me and the person talking, or if I'm just gonna commentate over and post like usual and just record the gameplay of me playing with them. For entertainment's sake, I might do the former. I might record like our commentary with it, and then like in post edit in an intro somewhere. You know, that's what I might do. Not sure yet, but I'm not even sure if I'm gonna Let's Play It Takes Two. But it's a big game I want to Let's Play since it was free for PlayStation Plus. On top of that though, there is like some updates I gotta make about like the Let's Plays I was planning to do for this season of Run On Games. I finished Acombat. I already mentioned that like a couple videos ago, I believe. Either in part 8 or part 9 of this Let's Play. We're recording part 12 right now. But yeah, I did like finish Acombat, and I was gonna start the next Let's Play, which was originally gonna be RFL, but then like shortly into the game, I kind of didn't want to play it because RFL's a really good game, but I'm the type of person that like when it comes to any kind of longer game, if I've beaten them once, I need like a few years between playing it because of how long the game is. RFL is like a game I like upon replay, it just feels like it takes too long because of how long of a game it is. It's a good game though, like it doesn't feel like padded out or anything, it's really fun. It's just I needed more time between the last time I played it. Last time I played it, I think, was a year and a half ago, which was my first time playing it. And apparently that wasn't long enough, because coming back, it was too familiar. It felt too recent. It felt like I needed longer before I came back to it. So that got scrapped. Then I was going to play Kina, but early on into that game, I realized I really didn't like it. Then I was going to play a game called Crosscode, until I got through like maybe a third of the game with like 10 to 12 hours of gameplay recorded and a bunch of areas in the game where I kept getting stuck. Because here's the thing, Crosscode's not a very hard game when it comes to combat. Like when it comes to like your combat, it's fairly easy. The hard part of that game comes from like keeping your levels up, because unlike most like RPGs, and I do consider it an RPG whether it is or not, because it's built almost entirely like a classic style RPG, the combat's just different. Literally the only difference. But in most RPGs, especially classic RPGs, you'll end up leveling enough to keep up with the enemies as long as you like go through the enemy encounters that you go through. Like, don't just escape every enemy encounter. You should be fine. But Crosscode has this issue where you have to go back and do side quests and like fight extra enemies and shit to keep up with the like leveling, and that was starting to get on my nerves, which if it wasn't for that, I probably would have kept through my other issue. Like I probably would have like overlooked my other issue with the game and just been like, okay, let's keep playing, because I was having a fun time other than that. My other issue is one that, like I said, I could have overlooked. I could have kept playing the game despite this issue. The puzzles are too hard. Like, no, I'm not joking. I'm somebody who's really good with puzzles, and even I think they're too hard. Like, I'm really good when it comes to, like, puzzles in video games. The weird thing, too, is that Crosscode's the only game in my library that counts as a puzzle game. And I find that weird because I've played so many games that have puzzles in them, like Resident Evil games, which to be fair, most modern Resident Evil games have pretty surface level puzzles, so that barely counts. They're fun puzzles, don't get me wrong, but they're very surface level. Aside from like a couple exceptions, like there's the chess piece puzzle in RE2 that you won't really find too easy until like after maybe your second or third run of the game. That puzzle is actually takes a little bit of brain power. You actually have to figure it out in your head. There's also like a puzzle in what other modern RE? I think it was it's that one puzzle in the church in RE4 Remake where you have to like turn the stained glass. That one, even on repeat playthroughs, takes a bit of thinking to do. Like those are two like examples of hard puzzles that are at least hard on your first run. And then like there's also like if I remember correctly, I think there was a couple like simple puzzles in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, but they weren't anything too crazy. There's a few puzzles you have to do in Acrobat, which some took me a little bit of thinking, but some were super easy. I don't know. Okay, I'm a little stuck here as you're watching. Literally talking about like puzzles being too easy, too hard, all that stuff. And I'm literally stuck here. Okay, there we go. We got out. I like how I say like I'm good at puzzles in video games, and then I struggle like on one of the most simple puzzles ever, which is the Spike Wisp puzzles in Sonic Generations. And that's part of the good part of Planet Wisp. I actually do like the Spike Wisp puzzles. They're a little fun. They're a little overly simple and easy, but they're fun. They give the Wisp something to do. I honestly have little to no issue with classic Planet Wisp. It's just kind of decent. It's got some really good ideas, like the Spike Wisp puzzles, and like some of the level geometry here is pretty good. But it just drags on a little long. Like even if I was doing better at this stage, I think an S rank of the stage just requires you to get under 6 minutes, if I remember correctly. Which is pretty lengthy for a boost formula stage S rank. I say that, but I think that's also the A rank for I think that's also the A rank for Kingdom Valley in Shadow Generations. But then again, that's the A rank. I have an S rank in Shadow Generations Kingdom Valley, and I'm pretty sure I had to get like under 5 something to get it, which is better. I don't know where I'm going with this. But the fact they gave the Spike Wisp something to do here, whereas like the original Planet Wisp with Sonic Colors didn't really give the Spike Wisp much to do except for climbing up walls to like reach red rings and stuff and new pathways, which is cool on its own, but it's very limiting game design wise. So the fact they added like a second thing for it to do here, which is the puzzles that you're seeing me do, these little Spike Wisp puzzles. The fact they added that was like a smart idea. But the reason like I'm talking so much about the Spike Wisp having these puzzles is because they did the opposite with the Rocket Wisp. And I think I complained earlier in this Let's Play that the Rocket Wisp was probably the worst Wisp to give modern Sonic, because it's a Wisp that's limited to 2D sections. And I mentioned that like, if they wanted to do a 2D Wisp, the Drill Wisp would have been way better. Or they could have done like the Laser Wisp or the Hover Wisp, which could work in 3D environments. But no, they decided, you know, we're gonna bring back the most boring Wisp in colors. And yes, I do think the Rocket Wisp is the most boring. It's not a Wisp I mind using in colors, but I mind that it's here because it's the most boring Wisp that has the least to do. And if they were gonna bring it back, they could have at least like added some puzzle element to using it, like they did the Spike Wisp. But no, it's even more limited here, because in the original colors, there were times where you could use the Rocket Wisp to get like optional collectibles like extra rings or red star rings. There were times you could reach upper paths with it. Here, no, it's mandatory to beat the stage. You have to use it to hit through an obstacle, and that's all it's ever used for. And it's... If you were going to limit it, at least go with a Wisp. You don't have to limit. Go with, like, the Drill Wisp or the Laser Wisp or the fucking Hover Wisp. Even the Frenzy Wisp would have had more to do here. And the Frenzy Wisp is almost as limiting as the Rocket Wisp in colors. But I could think of things for the Frenzy Wisp. Maybe have, like, some kind of puzzle where you have to break specific obstacles, but other obstacles, if you break them, you take damage or something, so you have to avoid them. Something like that would have been really interesting. But no, you went with the most boring Wisp from colors. That's not even the worst part about modern Planet Wisp in Sonic Generations. First of all, this might be me. I hate the color of this grass. I hate it. I actually do. I hate the color of this grass. I know it's such a minor detail, but I've always hated the color of the grass in this version because in Sonic colors, the grass looks so vibrant. And then here, it looks so desaturated. It's like, okay, I like the flowers and stuff around the place. They do help a little bit. I like these little, like, rock-looking platforms and bridges and stuff. I like all that. But man, I can't fucking stand the color of the grass here because it basically clashes with everything else. Because everything else looks vibrant. Look at the flowers. Look at the, like, mushrooms. I think those are mushrooms. Look at, like, the stage assets, like the springs and stuff. All of that is super colorful. And then you have this you have this desaturated ass grass that looks like it's from like a PS2 era game or something because of how desaturated it is. It literally does not look like it belongs in Sonic. I know people were saying like Frontiers didn't look like it belongs in Sonic, but at least Frontiers had more colorful grass, which fits Sonic better than this. Like, I know it's such a minor complaint. Look at the tree leaves. The tree leaves are more colorful. Look at how much more green is in the tree leaves than there is on the grass. I know it's such a stupid thing to bitch and moan about, but it's a detail that matters to me because even in Team Sonic Racing, they got it right again. The Planet Wisp in Team Sonic Racing has colorful grass. So no, it is not just like a me thing. Generations has the worst looking version of Planet Wisp because they fucking desaturated the grass to hell and back. And it looks so bad. Like, I love the rocks. I love that the rocky formations are kind of bluish. It kind of reminds me of Hilltop. Is it Hilltop Zone? I think it's called. Reminds me of that. I like the color of the trees. They're kind of a little desaturated too, but they have more color to them, and they're at a level of saturation that actually works. I like the flowers and stuff around the area. I like the mushrooms. I like the assets for the factory-looking area that we're in now. They look great. So why does the grass specifically look like ass? That's what I want to know. But no, that's not the worst part of Planet Wisp either. I know that's probably the part I'm going to ramble on the longest, just because it's a part I never hear anybody talk about. But it's not the worst part. The worst part of this is, you know how I said, like, classic Planet Wisp felt a little padded out? It only felt a little padded out. There's like a minute or two of unnecessary level in classic Planet Wisp. This version of Planet Wisp feels like it's all padding past like the 3.5 minute mark on my run here, if I'm not mistaken. I'll let you know once it starts feeling like padding. We're not quite there yet, but it will come very soon. Very soon, it will feel like padding. Also, fuck those rockets. They are shitty-ass obstacles. They're not even hard. They just feel, like, annoying to time with. That's really it. These saws can also be annoying, but honestly, yeah, they're fine. I see what they were doing with the saws. They're fine. We're not at the padding part yet. I will let you know the moment we get to where the level starts feeling padding. We literally just entered the factory. We're not at the padding part yet. I actually love this, like this part here. Like, this is one part of Modern Planet Wisp they did right. Is like this whole section, starting from like that little side step section there. This homing attack chain to get up here, this like trick ramp. Even these little platforms here, like all of this is really good. This would have all been like a good like final stretch of the level in my opinion. It's not like very epic, and for like a level that's the final level of the game, I could see why they didn't want this to be the final part. This is where it starts dragging. Okay, so I said it was a little earlier. It's like at the 4-minute mark of my run here. It starts dragging once you get to the drill wisp and the minecarts. And it mainly drags because of the not minecarts, the little carts you ride on. These are the main thing that make Modern Planet Wisp feel padded. They are really unnecessary. I hate them. The drill wisp feels like it's padding a little later on in the stage, because you have to use the drill wisp in the stage like at least 15 times. Mandatory 15 times to beat the level. And that's a little overkill, but the first few times you use the drill wisp, it's fine. And the reason why it feels overkill, even though you had to use the spike wisp just as much as in the classic version, is because the level design was built around the spike wisp. There were areas you had to get up to using the spike wisp. You had to use it to solve puzzles to progress. Here, none of that. You see that little thing right there I was trying to break with the rocket wisp? Yep, that is literally the full extent they do with it. So after like the first 4 or 5 times of using it, it becomes unnecessary. It's just extra padding. You know what else is padding? The fucking carts I talked about you riding on. Every time they show up, it slows the level to a halt, and I hate it. But luckily, we're not there yet. I mean, you see them right here, but we don't have to hop on these. Well, you have to hop on one to get up to this. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to ride them to the end. Like, you have to do other ones. Fuck. I hate when that happens. But see, this is all you do with the rocket wisp. Whole level. So after, like, the first 3 to 5 times of using it, it's just unnecessary. It's just padding. Another minecart section. Padding. All of this feels unnecessary. There are bits and pieces of this level past the 4-minute mark in this video that are actually really good. But then they have all these minecarts in the middle of them. Like, I like this part here. I like this part where you have to homing attack these, like, worm guys. And then get up to this area. Like, this is fine. Then you ride another fucking cart. Ride another platform. I'm gonna call them platforms because I don't know if they're actually like considered carts. You gotta ride the platforms, and they're so slow. If they were a little faster, it'd be fine. I get why they're slow. They're slow to make it easier to land on. That in itself is fine. However, they should have made them speed up after you're on a platform. And then if you fall off the platform, they slow down again. Do something like that if you need it to slow down for you to be able to land on it. Because they pad the level so much, being as slow as they are. Oh, here's some padding here. This also would have worked for like a final part of the level. Like, right there where you like rocket through like 3 rockets. Put the gold ring there. And then get rid of the like riding platform sections that led up to that. The level probably would have been fine then too. But no. This whole part here also feels like padding. It sucks. So the reason why I hate this part is you have to climb up, and literally all you have to do to get out of here is get the rocket wisp. It is the easiest solution ever, easiest solution you could ever think of, etc., etc. And that's all you have to do to get out of there. All of that little bit right there is very unnecessary. This level feels very padded out, and I'm sorry I keep bitching and moaning about that, but it's what I hate about like this version of Planet Wisp. Like, I know Colors had this issue where it divided the axe up. Maybe because the Wii couldn't handle longer axe, or maybe it just wanted the game to feel longer. I don't know. It divided the axe up to be really short, but I would take the 2 to 3 minute, what is it, Planet Wisp Act 1 and 4, I think it is? Or is that Aquarium Park that's Act 1 and 4? One of them is Act 1 and 4, and one's Act 1 and 5, I believe. But anyway, the 2 long acts of Planet Wisp in Sonic Colors that are like 2 to 3 minutes long, I'd take that as a vital stage over this. And I know I said I like longer stages for boost formula and adventure formula, but there's a line. There's a line to be drawn. Because Kingdom Valley, and I'm going to talk over Charmy because I don't like Charmy, so even unlike Vector, it's not a thing I feel sorry about. But, the thing about Kingdom Valley and Shadow Generations is almost as long as Planet Wisp here. And there's no padding in that level. There's no padding in the rest of the levels of this game. In Shadow and Sonic Generations, none of these levels feel padded. Except for Planet Wisp. I also hate that they chose, it's always bugged me they chose Planet Wisp, because to me it was one of the most vanilla stages in Colors. I feel like Sweet Mountain, Starlight Carnival, or especially Aquarium Park would have been way better choices. I actually could see like things they could come up with for Aquarium Park. Like they could have come up with some really interesting stuff to do with Aquarium Park. Similar to how they came up with something new for the Spike Wisp to do, they could have come up with something like that. Keep the Spike Wisp from Planet Wisp and have it for the classic version of Aquarium Park. That would have worked really well. And then modern, like, this is how I would have done it. I'm explaining how I would have done it. Aquarium Park Classic uses the Spike Wisp exactly how it's used here, but the puzzles look different to fit Aquarium Park, obviously. And then over in Aquarium Park Act 2, you use the Hover Wisp or the Drill Wisp, either one, to get out of water areas. That gives those something to do besides drilling and hover. You actually have a goal with them. That's what I would have done. Planet Wisp is the only stage I have an issue with here. Because there are other color stages that are so much more interesting. Starlight Carnival, like, even Asteroid Coaster's interesting. Like, every stage in Sonic Colors except for, dude, Terminal Velocity could have been cool. They already took, like, Sky Sanctuary, which was originally just a boss rush level in the original Sonic 3 and Knuckles version, and they made it into a fleshed out classic and modern level. Terminal Velocity is a very short level. Imagine what they could have done with that. Like Terminal Velocity would have been really cool. Like in the order from like what would have been the best to least best, I think Aquarium Park would have been the best choice, followed by Terminal Velocity, because there would have been like a lot of opportunity to create new gameplay design for that. After Terminal Velocity, I say Sweet Mountain. Why Sweet Mountain? Because it's a unique unique concept that they try to copy and fail to copy in one of the levels for Lost World. I never played Lost World, but I've seen the levels, so yeah. I try to copy in Lost World. The video is almost over, so I'm trying to wrap this up. What was I? After that, it would be Starlight Carnival, then Asteroid Coaster, then Planet Wisp, then Tropical Resort. But yeah, unfortunately this rival battle ends off this video, so after we get the results here, we're going to be ending it off. And we're ending the video off here, so bye.